Does OCD make you worry that you're going to be poisoned or that something is poisonous? We're going to talk all about it. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist and make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I want to talk to you about a really common intrusive thought that a lot of people have, and that is the thought that you might get poisoned. And it shows up in a lot of different ways. I'm going to talk about that and what to do about it. But first, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified, because I do make new videos every single Thursday. All right, so let's talk about this. The difference between OCD and other mental health disorders that would give you a fear, like I'm afraid that I might be poisoned, is that with OCD, there's a part of you that knows that it's irrational. There's a part of you that gets that that doesn't make sense, that I'm not going to get poisoned by this thing, or that person's not trying to poison me, or that's not a dangerous thing. But OCD is the doubting disease, and it makes you doubt your initial thoughts. So it can show up in lots of ways. You might worry about what you eat, what you touch, even what you breathe in. A lot of times this is contamination OCD, where you are so worried about things that are poisonous that things become contaminated. And then things that touch other things can become contaminated. It shows up in different ways for different people, but the core fear is, what if I get poisoned? And the idea of what is poisoning you is also really different. There are people that inspect their food. There are people that have particular things that they deem poisonous and they're really, really worried about. So their OCD focuses on that object that can spread poison, or they're just worried about having contact with things that might be able to hurt them, or that people might poison them. All sorts of themes. But the same thing is underneath all of that. And what is that? The lies of OCD. That OCD will lie and tell you to worry about things that you don't need to worry about. And it's super confusing because it feels so real and it sprinkles all this doubt. But what if this thing got close to that thing and it fell into your water? Or what if you accidentally brushed against this and you did that? It's all what ifs, right? It's not things that you're actually seeing or experiencing. It's what ifs. Well, it could have happened this way. It should have happened that way. It might have happened that way. What if? And that's when you're deep, deep down in the OCD tornado and at the mercy of OCD, because then OCD will say, and I have a plan. If you're really worried about this, I can keep you safe. Why don't you ask your parent or ask your friend or ask somebody if this smells good, looks good, tastes weird? Or maybe I have to ask somebody, if I touch this and then I touch my mouth, is that dangerous? Is that going to make me sick? Or maybe I have to look at where I've been and what I've touched. It is different for each person. I'm just giving you some examples. But the thing that grows the OCD and actually gives you more thoughts like this are the compulsions. What are compulsions? The fuel to OCD. It's the thing that feeds OCD. It's the thing that makes OCD grow bigger. So the more you do the things that OCD wants you to do, or avoid the things that OCD wants you to avoid, or check the things that OCD wants you to check, or ask the questions OCD wants you to ask, you're growing OCD bigger. And that's really at the meat of crushing OCD, is not the intrusive thoughts, because that's a glitch in the brain. And the brain is sending you a false signal that says, worry about this thing that you do not need to worry about. And it has no off switch. And OCD comes in and says, I've got the off switch. Go and ask, go and check, go and avoid, go and do this. And those are called compulsions. And the more you do those compulsions, the bigger OCD gets, because you're feeding it. And neurologically, you're growing those neural pathways in your brain. And we don't want that. So the idea of OCD in general, regardless of what theme you're dealing with, because these themes, these thoughts will come and go. So you might be worrying about poison, right now, but down the road you might have a totally different theme and a totally different worry or intrusive thought. That's how OCD works. But the way you tackle it is always the same. It's to accept, and I know this is so hard, it's to accept the discomfort that those intrusive thoughts give you without scratching the itch that OCD wants you to scratch and feeding OCD by doing or avoiding the things that OCD wants you to do or avoid. It's learning how to sit in the discomfort of those really scary thoughts and not giving in to what OCD wants. And you might have to start really small. And so it might be just delaying what OCD wants. So maybe OCD says, oh my gosh, you touched that, and I don't know if that's safe, or I don't know if that's poisonous. Go ask. Go ask your parent. Go ask somebody. And maybe you say, you know what, I know this is an OCD thing. I know that I didn't touch that, or I know that it's safe, and I know this is my OCD theme, and I know that I'm going to worry about this forever, right? So you have this awareness that this is an intrusive thought. This is an upsetting thought that's OCD related. And a lot of times we just go right back to doing what OCD wants. There's no delay. There's no waiting. There's no telling OCD, you're going to have to wait. But when you delay it, you say, you know what, OCD, I know you're making me really anxious about this thought, and I know it's an OCD thought, but I still really feel like I need to ask my mom. And you know what? I'm going to look at my watch, and I'm going to make you wait 10 minutes because you're not the boss of me. And so maybe I delay it, and I say, I'm going to wait 10 minutes, then I'm going to go ask my mom. And then the next day, I'm going to wait 15 minutes. I'm going to make you wait 20 minutes. If it tells you you need to not touch something, you can't touch that because it touched something else that was near something that was poisonous, right? Then maybe I'm not ready to touch that object that is poisonous, and I'm putting it in quotations because it's not poisonous. Even if it's something that, we're not going to want to digest or eat, like something around the house, that doesn't mean that touching it or interacting with it is poisonous. But OCD doesn't care about facts, it just cares about fear. And so maybe OCD says, don't touch that item, right? I'm trying to give you different examples for different struggles that some of you may be having. Maybe, right, I can't delay that. OCD is saying avoid it. I can't delay doing that because it's avoidance already. But maybe I touch something near it. Maybe I put my hand near the object and feel that discomfort by being so close to the object I can't touch. There are always small steps that you can do before you do the big steps. So sometimes I think we think, I can't do that, I can't ignore OCD, and so I can't fight OCD, and I feel hopeless and I feel depressed. The good news is you don't have to do the big things. Do the small things. The small steps lead to bigger steps over time. So what is the first thing you can do that you can resist OCD's demands? Can you make OCD wait? Can you get near the object that you can't touch, or touch an object near the object you can't touch? Whatever OCD is asking you to do or avoid, can you delay it, or can you get close to it if it's about avoidance? The goal is to do the opposite of what OCD wants you to do or what OCD wants you to avoid. That's the ultimate goal. We can't stop the intrusive thoughts. That's automatic. Just like if I said to you, think of an elephant, or don't think of an elephant, now you're thinking of an elephant and you're like, right? We can't control our thoughts, but we can control what we do with them. And that is the superpower of crushing OCD, is not spinning your wheels because you're having the thought, but taking action in what OCD wants you to take. It's the behavior that keeps growing OCD, not the thoughts. The nice news is when you start resisting doing what OCD wants you to do or avoid, over time, those thoughts lose their power. They may still be there, but they get quieter and quieter, or they lose their anxiety-producing existence, right? So you might be aware of them, but you might be like, that used to bother me, but now it doesn't anymore, because you're not giving in to OCD. So I hope that you pick one small thing to do today, one small thing to do tomorrow, and start to build up your confidence and crush OCD one small step at a time. I hope that you find the sparkle in everything you do. If you want in-depth support, I do have a course, Crushing OCD for Kids and Teens. You can check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. And you can go to my school at atparentingsurvivalschool.com, where you'll find that course and a lot of parenting courses as well for those of you that are taking care of people with OCD. Take care.